Okay. Okay. First of all, I thank that management for giving me the opportunity to deliver a webinar on creative thinking on innovation. As a part of that IIC event, I am one of the innovation ambassador. So today I'm going to deliver the topic on creative thinking on innovations. Actually, that for anything, for an example, that if you are doing some creativity means automatically we can achieve some good innovations. So there are some keywords are related to innovations or related to that creativity. But if you are seeing this diagram, so in that creativity and innovations are present in both the cases, because that without creativity we can't do any innovations. So for an example, that if you want to do some innovative project means, so first of all that you have to create some creativity. So these are the critical thinking. So the critical thinkings that we can categorize as reasoning, evaluating, problem solving, decision making, analyzing. So for an example, that if you want to do some project, so first things that you want to do, you want to know the what is the reason behind that project. Then that, so this is not in the life cycle, but that all are, it is combined. So for an example, that if you want to do something means you have first you have to analyze, so what is the problems are given. So from the problem that we can analyze and we can find out some reason. And also for decision making, so for an example, that if we are without thinking or without doing anything, we can't take any decisions. So the decision making is very, very essential. And also for problem solving, so suppose that some problems are given, so in the problem we have to solve in a creative manner. So for that we are using the creative thinking skill. And finally the for evaluating, so for evaluating also that we need this one. So the creative thinking, the mainly we can focus on the problems. It is a let's create something new thinking. For that we have to apply some ideas. So we may have that lot of problems. So in the lot of problems we are applying that ideas means we can get from the lot ideas, we can get some best idea. So in the best idea that is suitable for that solution. So normally that hackathon is going on. So that everywhere they are conducting hackathon event. Even for government also, that MHRD also, they are conducting that Smart India hackathon. And many colleges also they are conducting that hackathon event. So they are giving some problem. So with the help of that problem, we have to do some thinking, creative thinking. Then we have to find the ideas. So in that best idea, we can get the solutions. So in that vision is needed. So the main thing is that vision is needed for that particular idea. So these are the top creative thinking skills. One is analytical skills. So analytical skill means it is the ability to analyze things first. Suppose that problems are there means, so first we have to think in different ways. So we cannot go only for the one solution. So suppose that in the same problem arise previously, so they are using one strategy to solve that problem means, so now we have to think in different way. Suppose that for an example, you are taking the traveling salesman problem. So in the traveling salesman problem, that we are considering that shortest path. Suppose that if you are traveling in one direction means, so in that you have to travel for an example, some 100 kilometers. So suppose that if you are taking you are traveling in some other direction means, you may reach that particular place in 80 kilometers. So that kind of things we have to do in the analytical. Then that you have to be a open-minded. So the open-minded means, so thinking of things no one else has considered before. It means that your idea should be in the broad mind. So it is not a narrow mind. So for an example, if you are thinking in the narrow mind means, so you will get only that few solution. If you are thinking in the broad areas, so broad mind means you will get that n number of solutions. Then the next one is the problem solving. The problem solving is the ability to solve an important issue. So suppose that here that example is given. So x plus what is equal to z. So the simple solution. So that z minus x is that particular value. So like that we have to think. Then that organization. So organization means, so being able to structure a plan, action with clear goals and deadlines. So suppose that you are constructing, first for an example, you take it as a civil engineer. So for civil engineer is going to construct one bridge. So for that, first he has to create a prototype. It means the prototype is a model. So first he has to create a model. So in that model, that whatever the things you want to do, you have to complete, and that what that prototype will be converted into that original one. Then the next one is the communication. So the communication is a very important, because that without communication, without the proper communication, we can't get the solutions. Because that one thing we are telling to that one person, so he is conveying only that half of the message. So finally that for an example, that some 10 to 15 members are there means, so finally that person will for an example, that we are telling some 20 lines message to that first person means, finally that for that particular last person will receive only 2 to 3 message, 3 statement only. So that communication is a very essential one. So it is for the strong written and oral skills, ability to listen and ask the right questions. Then we are seeing about the what is the creativity and what is the innovations. So the creativity can be described as bringing a unique approach and way of thinking to the way you do things. So that creativity means, for an example, normally that what are all we are doing. So instead of that, we are trying in the different way. Or some people, they are interested in that cooking. So normally that what we are doing is, so that for an example, for preparing, or we can take it as for preparing tea. So for preparing tea, that you are using only that tea powder, water, tea powder, and some amount of milk only that you are using. Or if you are using the creativity, so what is meant by creativity means, so there they are adding some masala items, or sometimes that you can add that some ginger or something else that you are adding. So that means that it will give that additional flavor to that particular cup of tea. So then that innovation. So innovation can be thought of as the result of a creative process. So ending up with a new and better product or service. So that one only that I'll tell you that you will get some good taste of tea. So the creativity is a thinking up new ideas. So that is an input. Then that innovation is a puts into action. So whatever that creatively we are thinking, so that one we are involving, so that will get the beautiful result. So that is the outcome. Then what is in creativity? So the creativity is a bringing into that extends an idea that is new to you. So normally whatever that we are doing, that is not a creativity. So something else. So instead of that we are doing something else. So that is called a creativity. So we are adding the additional things. So because of that, we will get the beautiful outcome. Then that innovation. So innovation is the practical application of creative ideas. Then that here is a creative thinking. So creativity is okay, innovation is okay. Then what about the creative thinking? The creative thinking means, for an example, for one problem, we may have that 10 different solutions. So for that, we have to think in a different manner. So an innate talent that you were born with, and a set of skills that can be learned, developed and utilized in a daily problem solving. So that some people, whatever that we are telling, so that one only they are going to do. Some people, whatever that we are telling, so they will observe. So from their creativity, they are creating something new and they are giving the best solution. For an example, that so nowadays that we are preparing the decorations. So the decoration is one of the creativity, because that without creativity we can't do any decoration. For an example, and also that file, arranging the files. So arranging the files in a rack. So that is also, it is the creativity is needed. Suppose that one person that I am assigning that work to that one particular person means, he is filing that all the document and he is keeping in the keeping all the file in the rack means, so there is no creativity. This is a daily routine work. But instead of that I am assigning that one work to that other person, he is doing some creativity. He is arranging in the different manner. So in between that, he is placing some beautiful flowers or beautiful some pictures like that. So that is a creativity. Then that creative solutions are more than ideas, so they must work in the real world. A creative solution has a three attributes. So first one is it is new. So new is a one attribute, useful is one attribute, and feasible is a one another attribute. So it is a new, so that is, otherwise it would not be a creative. So I already told you, whatever that routine work we are doing, so that is not interesting, because that whenever that we are doing the routine work, same thing, so it means that we are acting like a low robo. So robo only, that whatever that instruction we are giving, so that only it will do. It won't think apart from that. So whatever that previous work, so whatever that old work we are doing, so that is not a creativity. So if it is a new means, it is a creative work. Then the second one is it is a useful, in that it's solving the problem. So for an example that I told that previously, the traveling salesman problem. So in the traveling salesman problem, for an example, one person is traveling from distance source A to destination D means. So he is traveling in the same road means, so daily that he is going in that road. So instead of that, so whether that he can use some other road means, he can save that 20 kilometers. So that is very useful. So that is also that we are using that creativity. So creativity means we are finding some other solution apart from the regular solution. So then that it is feasible given the messy real world constraints like money and time. Then the types of innovations. So there are different types of innovations. The first one is a business model innovation. So the business model innovation, it involves the changing the way business is done in terms of capturing values. So example that that computers, HP versus Dell, or Hub and Spoke Airlines versus that Southwest. For an example that you are going to you want to have some breakfast, or you want to have some evening time, you want to have some snacks. So that time that you are going to that shops. So in that shops, for an example that one person is keeping that items in a what is it, he is keeping that item in that one particular vessels, so like that he is keeping. In another person, he is keeping in a decorative way. So decorative way means that he is using some that using the some normal vegetables, he is making as some flowers, like that, some innovative. So where we are going to heat that our snacks, so definitely we are going to eat our snacks in that particular shops only. So it means that interact, it is a what is it, so we want, so before tasting we want to, our eyes will look that creativity. First we will observe that creativity, so then that we are, mind will decide that we have to go to that particular place. So that is a business model innovation. So then the next one is a process innovation. So the process innovation is involves the implementation of a new or significantly improved productions or delivery method. So in the process innovation also, that we are applying that new methodology, so that process of delivery is also sometimes that it is in the innovative manner. Then the next one is a product innovation. So the product innovation means it involves the introduction of a new good or service that is new or substantially improved. So this might include improvement in functional characteristics, technical abilities, ease of use, or any other dimension. So that I am giving one example. So that initially that we are using that normal the toothpaste. The toothpaste rate is comes around that minimum we can take it as it's a 50 rupees. So they want to reduce the they want to manufacture in this small size. But the drawback is if you are using that small size means, so that that cap nozzle size, no, so that nozzle size they are thinking that they can't reduce that nozzle size, so that whatever that paste is available, so if you are using that in the regular manner means, within one or two within a week that complete paste will be over. So for an example that if we are purchasing the 10 rupees, so that time one person give one innovative idea. So instead of that the same nozzle size. If you are reducing that nozzle size means that instead of that 1 week, it will come that paste, we can use it for the 10 days to 14 days. So like that, it is a small change only. So they made only the small changes, so they reduced the nozzle size only. But instead of that, so within a week that paste will be over. So but because of this small innovation, so that paste will come up to the 10 to 14 days. So this is a one type of that product innovation. Then the service innovation is similar to the product innovation, except that that innovation relates to services rather than to product. Suppose that you are going for one shop. So suppose that you want to add some lunch. So they are in the menu card, they are giving so many items. But if you are for so many items, they are using only that. For an example, you take it as a chicken. So in the chicken, there are so many varieties of chickens are there, but the base is only the chicken. So they are using some innovative method. For an example, that if you want to add the chili chicken means they are adding some masala, or otherwise that if you are using that garlic chicken means that they are using that some different items. So they are pouring some different items. Then that there are different varieties are there. It means that that product is only the same. The product is a chicken, but you are adding that additional flavor, so that there are showing us a huge variety. So there are the three components of creativity, that expertise, motivations, and creative thinking skills. So that expertise is in a word, knowledge, technical or procedural and intellectual. So suppose that one person, we are telling that he is expertise in that particular area means he must know each and everything about that particular concept. For an example, that one person is very good in, for an example, I am telling that, so this so and so person is very good, he is expertise in that data science means, so he has to know that each and everything. So he has to know what is the basic things about the data science, then what are the different types of data sets we are handling, so that also he must know, and what are the algorithms we are using, that also he must know. So everything that he must know, so then only that he is calling as a expertise. So then that next one is a motivation. So the motivation is not most motivations is created equal. An inner passion to solve the problem at hand leads to solution far more creative than do external rewards such as money. So for everything we have to give some motivations. So suppose that you are conducting some hackathon event. So for that hackathon event means that you have to give some prize money. So that finally that whatever that we are testing, so for that we have to award to that particular person. So without that, so you are not motivating means, then what is that? What is the need of showing that creativity? So that is a question mark. Then that the third component is that creative thinking skill. So the creative thinking skills determine how flexible and imaginatively people approach that particular problem. So this is a very, very important one. So that for an example, that normally that we are using that LPG cylinder in our home. So normally that we don't know that when that cylinder will be over. So for that one school children, he created one innovative idea. So that idea is, so we have that weighing machine. So that normally that we are using that weighing machine for calculating our weight. So so that weighing machine she kept in the kitchen, and she kept that cylinder above. So she reset that empty cylinder weight. So that normally that empty cylinder is around that 14 kg something. So she reset that value into 0. Then she kept that full cylinder. So that full cylinder it is showing some weight. So that whenever that cylinder will be over, it means that gas inside that gas will be over means automatically that weight will be reduced. So that if that particular cylinder weight comes to that 1 kg means, so that time we can book that cylinder, so that you can easily see that. So that is the one way. In another way, for an example, that you are having that cylinder in your home. So you don't know that how much cylinders, how much gas was used. So for that, that simple thing is, so if you are pouring that water into one cloth, and you have to or you have to apply some water in that particular cylinder. Then according to the gas availability, so that will be moisture. For other part, it will be evaporated, the water will be evaporated, so that we can easily came to know that how much cylinder, that how much gas is available in that particular cylinder. So that solution, actually the problem is one only. So problem is how to find that remaining gas, or how many days that gas will come, like that. But we have that two different solutions. Then there are myths about that creativity. So that smarter you are, the more creative you are. Then that second one, that young are more creative than the old. So these are the myths. So that young means, so they may have that different, what is it, that different ideas. So suppose that for an example, that I am giving one problem to my father, and I am giving one that same problem to my son means, so my son will tell that in different solution. He will give the different solution. But my father, with the experience, he will give only that few solutions for that problem. But my son, that he will give the different solution, because that he can search in the Google and he can get that more information from the Google. So for that only, that they are telling that the young are more creative than the old people. Then the third one, it is a creativity is reserved for a few, the flamboyant risk takers. So those who are, for an example, that some people, they are interested in bike riding. So in the bike riding means, so they are completely changing their bike model. So they are added that all the accessories, all what type of accessories they want, they are added in their bike. But that most of the people, that what we are doing is, so in that, if we are purchasing that bike means, we are not going to do any alterations, that, or we are not going to do anything. Simply that we are using the same vehicle, and weekly once that we are washing that vehicle. So that's all. But that creative people, so they are completely changing that particular vehicle, so according to their style. So for an example, that that horn sound, it is also like different sound. And that handle, so what are that bike handle, so they are using some other accessories. And also that mud guard, everything, so everything they are completely changing. It is like that new model bike. So that much, so that people, they are taking that too much risk. Then the fourth one is a creativity is a solitary act, then that you can't manage the creativity. So once that people, once you want to do some creativity means, so you can, so there may be n number of solutions, so that you have to, if you are trying that particular solution means, then only you can understand that what is innovations are there in that particular problem. Then the tools for creating the new ideas. So there are three different tools we are having. The one is that attribute listing, brainstorming, and visioning. Actually, what is meant by attribute? So normally that attribute means, so whatever that, for an example, if you are telling in the point, in the database management system point of view means, so that table name which contains the several columns, so that columns are called attributes. So that here that attribute listing is, so that we can use that attribute listing when you have a situations that can be decomposed into attribute, which itself can be usefully creative activity. Then that particularly that useful with the physical objects, so you can use it elsewhere too. It is a highly rational style suitable for people who prefer that analytical approaches, and it is good for that engineering type situations. For an example, that you are collecting some attribute. For an example, I am giving one problem. For an example, you have to identify that cancer disease. I'm giving that problem. So for that, we are collecting some several attributes. So several attributes like that. What is a so there are several attributes are there for calculating that cancer. For an example, we have to do that blood test. So what is a sample? What is the how much that white cell count? How much it is a red cell count, and other attributes also there. So these are the several different attributes are there, but these attributes we cannot use in the different problems. For an example that brain tumor. So brain tumor. So some people are affected with the brain tumor means we cannot we cannot use this. Previously we collected the data set, no, that we cannot use. So for that we have to add more data, so that we can do some. So with help of that attributes we can do some predictions, so that we can easily find whether that person is affected by that particular disease or not. Then for the objects or thing in questions, so list as many attributes as you can. So according to the number of attributes only, we can get that accurate results. It can also be useful to first break the object down into constituent parts and look at the attribute of each part in questions. Suppose that what to say? Suppose that you are BMI. So we are having that attribute called BMI. So that BMI attribute, it contains that weight and height. So you want to, so instead of that using that BMI, we can convert it into that height and weight. So that height and weight we can use in the different problem also. Because for some problem, for an example that if you want to find that obesity means, so for that we can use that BMI. For other problems, so for other problems we have to use only that particular attribute. It means that height or weight. Then for each attribute, ask what does this give. So we have to ask WH question. So what or who or when, H means how. So like that we have to ask that question. So from that only we will get some different solutions. So it means it is some creative solutions. So seek the real value of that each attribute. It is also possible that attributes have that negative value. It means that they distract from the overall value of the objects. Then that finally looks for that ways in which you can modify the attribute in some way. So thus you can increase the value and decrease the negative values or create a new values. Then that attribute listing works as a decompositional approach, breaking the problem down into that smaller part, so that can be examined individually. Suppose that you are having that very big problem means, so first you have to divide that problem and you have to find the solution for each and every small problem. So then only you can solve that very big problem. So that most of the people are preferring the Java, because that in Java we are using the concept called multi-threading. So the multi-threading means that big program we are breaking it to small program, and we are running in the either in the same machine or we can run in the different machines. So that's why that most of the people are preferring the Java. So likewise that we have to divide that attribute into subpart, so that we can easily solve that problems. So then that all things have that attribute, which are sometimes that overlooked, but by deliberately focusing on this, so you can find the new ways to be creative. Then the next one is the brainstorming. So the brainstorming is a technology. So normally, for an example, if you are taking the class means, it is like a continuous lecture hours. So instead of that, we have to use some brainstorming technology. So the brainstorming technology means we are giving some additional things. For an example, that instead of that, first we have to do some recap session. So the recap session means that whatever the previous classes are there, so whatever the previous classes that we took, so that part we are once again that we are recalling. It means that within the 5 minutes we are recalling that particular session. Then that lecture is session 1. Then we have to do some brainstorming activity. So the brainstorming activity, it may be a physical activity, or we can conduct that quiz like that. So from that session that we can conduct some quiz, or we can use that debate, or we can go for that question answering. Like that if you are using that brainstorming technology means automatically that particular students will learn that apart from this syllabus he will learn something else. So that is the added advantages for that particular student. So the brainstorming is probably that best known creative tool. It can be used in most groups, although you will probably have to remind them of the rules. It is best done using an independent facilitator who manages the process. It means that so the group can focus on the creative task. So typically takes around 30 minutes to an hour. So normally in the brainstorming technology, for an example, I am conducting class means, so first I am conducting that recap session, then after that lecture 1. Then I am conducting some event which is related to that particular subject. For an example, I completed that one particular chapter. In that chapter, I am creating a quiz. So the quiz may contain that some 10 to 15 questions. So for 10 to 15 question means the students will answer. So whatever that students are answered, I am giving that extra points, so that that student can learn completely that what are the chapters are given. So because that I am taking the questions only from that particular chapter, students will prepare well, and they can easily write the examination. So without that additional preparation. So normally what the students are doing, in the last minute only, before next day exam means, so today only they are studying the complete things. So instead of that, if you are creating these kind of activity means, for an example, I am conducting the brainstorming activity on quiz event, or sometimes that I can conduct that debate also. So in that debate also that I can give that one topic, so that the students can prepare that particular topic. So for an example I am giving, so which topology is best for network. So there are many topologies are there. So I am telling that students to prepare which topology is best. So you have to debate for that, so that you have to give that importance of each topology, so that all the students can easily understand what is the topology, what are the types of topology, how that particular topology will work. So in that which topology is mainly used for that LAN network, or which topology is used for MAN, or which topology is used for WAN, like that. Because that for debate they are preparing all the things, whatever that things relate, because that I am assigning, for an example, that ring topology I am assigning to one team. So then that mesh topology I am assigning to the another team. Then that like that I am bus topology I am assigning to that other team. So they are completely, they are searching from the net, and they are taking that what are the advantages are there in that particular topic, so that all the other students also they can easily listen. Because that for an example, if you are studying anything, for an example, the one topic is there. For an example, if you are mug up that particular topic means, within that 1 or 2 days you may forgot. If you are preparing that particular topic in an innovative way, for an example in a story manner, for an example I am studying that one particular topic in a story manner means, so that story will remind me in any time. For an example that I'm telling one example. So that I studied in my UG, so that OIC reference model layers. So there are that 7 layers are there. So in the 7 layers, that I remember that layer like one sentence. Please do not touch my semester paper earlier. Please do not touch my semester paper earlier. So now now also that I can remember that word, because it is a creative manner. Please do not touch my semester paper area. So I can tell that what are the layers are there: physical layer, network layer, so physical layer, data link layer, network layer, transport layer, then session layer, presentation, and application. So I can remember now also, because that I am not handling that networks, but still I can remember that topic. So likewise that we have to do in some creative. So for that brainstorming technology is very much useful for, for that particular remembrance. So it can be used in most groups, although that you will probably have to remind them of the rules. So it is a best done using an independent facilitator who manage the process. It means that so that the group can focus on the creative task. So typically it takes that around 30 minutes to an hour. Then there are rules, so there is no criticism or debate. So actually that debate means we cannot tell that other than that subject. So other than subject means the debate will be in the different manner. For an example, that they may take some political one, or what is a cinema, like that. So we can use the debate in that beautiful manner. Then that quantity over quality. So we are talking about that, for an example, that one page if you want to read means it is very difficult, but if you are taking that qualitative data, you can frame that 2 to 3 pages also. If you know that particular page, what are the qualitative data are there, means you can easily convert it into text format. Then the next one is a free will and combine and improve. So the brainstorming works when people use each other idea to trigger their own thinking. Our minds are highly associative, and one thought easily triggers another. Then that if you use the thought of others, so then these will stop us getting trapped by our own thinking structure. For an example, that students are so nowadays that students are very much brilliant. So for an example, you are giving one what is it? So they need only that spark. So if you are giving that particular spark, means they will do all the things. So that brainstorming is mainly used for giving that particular spark. It means that, so normally what we are thinking, so that is the brainstorming technology, it is creatively thinking, it is giving that creative thinking, so that each and everybody, so whatever that persons are there, so they can think differently. And also that whatever the concept we are studying, so it may be that UG, or it may be 10th, or it may be your childhood also, so that will be remember your lifelong. Then the next one is a visioning. So that visioning is a vision is a motivating view of the future. It creates pulls, it gives direction. So normally that what we are I think that in everywhere, so for an example, if you are entering to the college means, so everywhere they are placing their vision, mission and quality policy, so these boards only. So what is my vision? So the vision is that it is not a short term goal, it is a long term goal. So for an example, that if you want to achieve this target means, so what you have to do, so that is the given in the vision. So it is imagine brilliant and innovating future, then think about what you are trying to achieve. So for an example, that people who are selected for engineering, so what is their goal? So the most of the people, they are preferring their goal is, so they want to place in that very good MNC company. So that MNC the target is that they have to place in MNC company. So that is their vision. So for achieving that vision, they have to do some additional things. So for an example, that if you want to place in that very good MNC company means, first you have to strong in the programming language. Then that next thing is that you have to know the basic things about all the subjects. It is not only that programming subjects, you have to know that all the subjects, and you have to do some mini projects. So before that you have to do some courses, online courses, so that you can, and also that there are a lot of additional courses are there, additional certification courses. So you have to get that certification. So these are the essential things. So suppose that your vision, it means that your main goal is that you have to place in that particular MNC company means, so for that you have to do work from the starting. You have to work from the first year onwards. So the people are setting the goal. So their goal is that they want to place in MNC. But in the fourth final year, the second semester only they are starting the preparation, means you cannot achieve that goal. If for an example that you are targeting something, means from the starting itself you have to do. And don't always believe that theory will help you for your future. I'll tell you one story. So that normally the persons are traveling from one end to another end via that particular bridge. So due to that heavy rain, that bridge was broken. So that from this side they have to move to other side. So for that, if you know that swimming only, they can reach from that the source to destination. So there, that one mathematical professor was there. So that mathematical professor, so that some people they are coming from that destination to here. So it means that that place to this place. So he is so one by one he is asking. So what is the depth of that particular river? So one person is telling that so it is a 3 feet height. The another person is telling that it is a 6 feet height. That another person is telling that it is 8 feet height. Like that, he is collecting that information from some 10 to 15 persons. Then that he is a mathematician, no? So he calculated what is the average that height of that water. So he calculated. Finally, he got that it is approximately 5 feet. So he is that 5.4. So he is thinking that so I am 5.4. The average is only 5, so that I can reach from here to there without knowing the swimming. So that he tried in the water, but that in some place that it is more than that 5.5. No, so there he got struck and he finally died. So for that only that people are telling that don't always that prefer only theory. So you have to do some practical. For an example, that if you want to move from this direction to that direction via that river, means you have to learn the swimming. Otherwise that you can't achieve that, you can't reach that particular target. So in the software also, that we are telling that for an example that student focus is only on that they have to place in MNC, means first things they have to learn all other skills. So don't depend on your curriculum and syllabus. So in the curriculum and syllabus, we are our syllabus that we are focusing only on the few topics or few programming language. So in that programming language also, there are standard some 10 to 15 problems are there. So that only they are going to discuss. But if you are searching on the Google, so you will get that many problems. So we know only that standard problems. So how to find that that given number is odd or even, or what is how to find that given year is a leap year. So like that only that problems, what is how to find that Armstrong number, or how to find the factorial of the given number, like that only that we saw. Apart from that, there are n number of problems are there. First, you have to study that problem statement. So normally that what we are giving is, we are giving that problem. So we are identifying the problem and we are directly giving to you. But the thing is that in the real world problem, so for an example that they are giving some scenario. So from that scenario, you have to create a program. So that is a real challenge. So for that your whatever that you are doing in the normally, means it won't help you. So you have to do some critical thinking so that you can do some innovative work. Then that use dynamic and emotive words to paint motivating pictures. Use words like sharp, now, and values. So then that phrase it in the present tense to make it more immediate. Use is rather than will. Then that use active verbs that talks about what is happening. Then test it with others to ensure it works for them too. So that people are telling that always be positive. So whatever the things are there. So because that some people that mentality is whatever that problem we are giving, whatever that things are happen, they will see only that negative. So then that visioning that works because we are an imaginative species and are motivated by what we perceive as a possible or desired future. Actually, that one king, he want to know what is when he is going to death. So that time he called one astrologer. So in the astrologer's check is that all the data, and he told that so before you are going to die, your family member all will die. So then that he got angry and he killed that particular astrologer. Then that next day some other astrologer came, and he is also checking that particular data, but he is telling that so that king, so you are going to live more than that what are the people are there, so like that. So he is telling in the positive way, but in the previous one, previous astrologer, he told in the negative way. So better that always focus on that positive only, but in that you have to check that negative things also, but you have to, what are the solutions are there, you have to see, you have to think in the positive manner. So what are the negative things are there, so that also you have to think in the positive manner. Then that organizational characteristics that support creativity and innovations. The first thing is that risk taking is acceptable to the management. Then employees have access to knowledge sources. Then innovators are rewarded. Then that new idea and new ways of doing things are welcomed. Then information is free flowing. Good ideas are supported by executive patterns. So this is very important one. So for an example, that you have to appreciate that the people who are doing innovatively. So some people, they are doing in the creative. So for an example, that we are giving that last time also we conducted some drawing competition. So that many people, they are drawing like that whatever they saw, that one only, but one person, he draw differently. Then that creating a creative climate, that first thing is important is motivation. So the motivation will change the challenge to fun. Then that empowerment, so the empowerment means it is a freedom, time and support. Then dynamism, so dynamism means it is a energy, it debate and dialogues. Then openness, it is a experimentations, trust and risk. So there is a difference between that innovation and creativity. That innovation, so it is an introduction of new or improved products, services and process. But in creativity, it is the imagination of ideas to create something. Then that innovation, which is related to implementation, but in creativity, it is related to imaginations. Innovation can be measured, but creativity, it can't be measured. So whatever that movies that we are seeing, so the best example is Avatar movie. So Avatar movie, that they are fully talking about that aliens, but we can't imagine, so that type of aliens are available in the world, so that we can't imagine, but they are giving some, they are using some creativity so that we got some beautiful picture. Then that related to observation, so the innovation is related to observation, but the creativity is, it is related to experience. So the creativity we can experience. For an example, that if you are doing something different means, we can, with experience only, we can learn that one. Then that for innovation, it is a risk of failure. So for creativity means it's a no direct risk factors. Then for innovation, it costs of implementation. Then creativity, it's cost of employee times. Then finally, it is a organization process. That innovation is organization process. Creativity is a personal quality. So how to increase that creativity by yourself? So you have to apply some knowledge so that you will get some creative. So that left hand side pictures, we are applying only that logics. So what are the logics are there? So that in the right hand picture, you can see that how much it is creative, it is a colorful. So normally that people will like this kind of images only. Then that innovation thinking. So the innovation thinking that I already told, that motivation, attitudes and skills. So the motivation is, it's a dream, passion, discovery, curiosity, challenge, fun and rewards. So these are the things are required. In attitudes, it is a value creation, then creative dissatisfaction, open mind, breaking rules, risk taking and learning. So then that what are the skills are required? It is inventing, observing, questioning, imagining. The questioning means, I already told that WH. So if you are asking that WH, it means what, where, then when, how, like that, then only you will get some different solutions. Then imagining, then serendipity, then metaphorsing, then brainstorming, subconscious, synerging, then simulations. So this is an example is given. For an example that it is a problem oriented thinking, we have to go for the critical thinking, where either it may be why or what. So in that why means, we can see that why or need or study the particular topic. So for an example, that one particular, for an example, you can see that the some EC students or mechanical students. So for mechanical students, in the first year they have to study the problem solving, that particular subject. What is the need of that studying that particular subject for EC or mechanical student? Is there any answers are there? The answer is yes, they have to study, because nowadays the companies are recruiting all the domain people. So they are having that mechanical oriented project. So for mechanical oriented project means, they need that mechanical students having that computer knowledge. They are having that ECE related project. So for that they are requiring that ECE domain knowledge people plus the computer knowledge. Because all the subject, what are the subject you are studying in your engineering, that is very much useful for your future. So you are going to study, or you are studied that one paper, it is called professional ethics. So in that professional ethics only, you are going to study what are the ethics you are going to follow in the companies or in any other places, because that ethic is essential for all. You have to follow certain rules and regulations. So for an example, you are driving your vehicle in the highway. So in the highway they mentioned as it is 100 kilometers, maximum 100 kilometers. You have to drive only with the maximum of 100 kilometers. So you are driving in that 140 or 160 means, automatically they will put some fine. So you have to follow certain things are there. So you have to follow certain ethics. So for that only you are studying that professional ethics subject in your curriculum. So what are the subjects are you are going to study or you studied, so that is useful for your future. Then that why the need for learning that space redesign. Then that why the need for digital learning. So these are the questions. Then what? So development of discipline specific skills and competencies. Then what engagement through that active learning. Then what achievement of desired competencies in course specific graduate attribute and engagement through active learning. So nowadays that NBA, so that National Board of Accreditation, they are focusing only on the outcome based education. So in the outcome based education means, it is not only that you are going to complete your course, and also you have to, so these 4 years, what are the work or what are the effort you are doing, it is for your next 40 years. So what are the 4 years that what you are doing, so it is useful for your next 40 years. So that what are the 4 years they have to complete, what are the things you have to know. So that's why the curriculum and design, curriculum and syllabus, it is designed for the particular course, so that students can learn the complete thing about that particular engineering. Then for design thinking, so the design thinking, it is always a solution oriented thinking. So we have to apply some creative strategy. So here we are using that H means how. So it is a creative strategies to support the transformative learning, which is engineering design methods and tools. Then it is a creativity simulating techniques. So suppose that we are you want to do some networks oriented work means, so you cannot you cannot implement directly. So for that only that we are using that network simulator 2 or network simulator 3. So like that we are having. So instead of that implementing in the real place, we are simulating. So that that problem oriented thinking, or it is problem oriented, but in design thinking it's a solution to problem. So this is a proverb: we can't solve problems by using the same kind of thinking we used when we created them. For an example, that first year you are studying the same subject. Second year also you are going to study the same subject. Third year also you are going to study the same subject, means you are not interested in that particular, because that always that we are eagerly waiting to know different things. So that different things will be happen in the creative thinking only. So because of the creative thinking, we can do some innovation projects. So thank you all for listening my webinar. So this is my detail, my mail ID and contact number. This is my personal website. So you can see my profile in that particular web link. Thank you all. Thank you once again for listening my lecture. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your wonderful session, sir. You have quoted many real-time examples, whatever we will observe in the society. And also, I request participants, if anybody is having any query about the session, feel free to ask the queries.